Welcome to Be Happy, Feel Great, where we bring in the experts to help you with your own personal development. Today we have a very happy show, very exciting because it's going to be about happiness. And I think there's quite a few of you out there that just want to feel happy. My special guest today is Jim Ryan, author of Simple Happiness, and Jim is also a professional speaker, and we're really looking forward to hearing what he has to say today. So Jim, thank you so much for being on my show today.
My pleasure, Mike.
It's great. You know, there's certain people that I have that they just have an aura about them, and when you came on the show, you just make me feel good already. You know, it's great to have you here, and welcome to Be Happy, Feel Great.
Thank you very much, Mike. You know, there is an energy, and you can't contain the energy. Sometimes we all exude an energy, and some of us exude happiness and confidence and good feelings, and some of us don't.
Yeah.
And you know, we start to tune into that. You can't help but feel it.
Yes, yes. Well, what a perfect guest to be on Be Happy, Feel Great.
Thank you.
And I think there's a lot that you could share with our audience today. I have your Simple Happiness book on my bookshelf, and it's next to a book about sweating the small stuff that you probably heard or have seen over the years. And I like your style. I like that your book could really teach messages in a simple way, just like the title says. And I was just wondering if you could tell us, you know, how did you get started writing a book?
Well, it started back. I got started in this phase of my life. You know, my life continues to evolve, and it all started back in the year 2000. I used to be a teacher and a guidance counselor. Became a financial advisor, but I've always been interested in personal development. I've always read a lot, gone to seminars, listened to tapes, and back in the year 2000, I just realized I had all of this stuff in my head. And I said to myself, what good is it doing in my head? I got to get it out of my head. So I spoke to some friends, and I was directed to the jail out in eastern Long Island in Yaphank. And every Tuesday morning, I go to and I teach a class in personal development to the men who are locked up for multiple DWI offenses. And that was a turning point for me. Wow. So I've been teaching this class for the last 15 years. It's a great experience. And a few years into that experience, I said, if these guys like my message, why wouldn't people on the outside? So I came up with a talk, and I wrote to libraries, and I started giving talks on how to be happy. And with that experience, I fashioned myself a motivational speaker. And I said to myself, if I'm going to be a motivational speaker, it's good to have a book so that I can separate myself from motivational speakers who don't have a book. And the other reason was people come to a talk and they get excited about the possibilities. But human nature being what it is, people tend to cool off over time and go back to their old ways. And I thought that having a book handy could rekindle that excitement and the enthusiasm that was generated in my talk.
Yeah, you know, it's so true. You go to so many different talks, seminars, workshops. You get all pumped up, and then when it's over, you're looking at your notes. What did this mean? Why did I write this down? You try to remember, and you only get like a small percentage of it. But to have the book and be able to, you know, read it and see, wow, I heard Jim, now I could read it, and you could highlight it and look at it again and again. It's great that you did that.
One of the editors early on, I sent the book out to be edited professionally, and the comment came back from one of the editors saying, you know, the style of your writing, Jim, is not pedantic. It doesn't talk down to anybody. It feels like you and I are sitting in the living room sharing ideas about how to be happy. I'd had no idea that it would come out in such a conversational, easy style, but that's how it came out. And so people read the book and they hear me.
You know what I liked about it too, Jim, is that you could take Simple Happiness, which is 52 ways to lighten up, and you could just open up anywhere if you wanted, and here it is, number 32, lighten up. And it's short, but it has a great message, and everyone motivates people. And it does. And there are times that I just feel like, oh, let me take Jim's book down today. And I might read a couple of these in the morning or the afternoon, and it does. It makes me feel better. So you did a great job with it. How long has the book been out?
Well, it's been out. It's in its second version now. I wrote the book back in 2006. And then I started, it's been pretty successful. People really enjoy the book. And as part of my message is to follow your bliss. So the comments I've gotten from the book are just encourage me to take it out there. So last year I decided I wanted to take the book national. So I started my own publishing company and redid some of the chapters. Basically, it's the same book. And I'm trying to get the book distributed on a national basis.
I think you're going to be successful. It's a great book. How long did it take you to write it?
Well, it took me 2 years to write the book, from
Okay.
start to finish.
It's the first time you ever wrote a
I
book.
had no idea what I was doing.
No experience, just it was inside you. I have this book inside me, and so many people do, but you're one of the few that actually made it into a book.
I was on vacation with my wife down south, and we were staying in a condo, and I suggested that my wife go shopping for the day because I had something I wanted to work on. So I sat out on the patio of the condo, and I brainstormed in my own mind, and I tried to come up with 52, I tried to come up with chapter headings. I really had no idea how many, but I got about 60 over, not all that one day, but I worked on it subsequently. And the idea that I had, and we were talking about this before we came on the air, the idea that I had was, I liked the book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff and It's All Small Stuff by Richard Carlson.
Right, that's what I mentioned before. Your book is right next to Richard Carlson's on my bookshelf.
And his book is so easy to read. And you can pick it up any place, just like you said here with this book. So I wanted to fashion it in that style. And I couldn't come up with 100 ideas. I came up with 60, and I melted it down to 52, figuring one a week.
One a week, perfect.
Then every morning I would, well, during the week, I didn't do it on the weekends, but every morning I would wake up early, make some coffee for myself, and I would write for 45 minutes. You got to have the discipline to get it done, otherwise it won't get done. So that was my discipline. 45 minutes every morning I would write, and sometimes I would be done in 45 minutes, and sometimes I wouldn't be done. And if I didn't finish the chapter, I would close my pad and go about my day because I didn't want it to become oppressive and anxiety producing. I just wanted it to be fun and creative. So I limited myself to 45 minutes every day.
Now, do you always have the same 45 minutes?
It was when I wrote this book. That was the process. I would get up real early, dark, quiet, and I would write at the kitchen table on a yellow pad.
Okay.
I would then give it to my assistant, and she would type it into the computer on a Word document. And she was the first reader of my work, and it's enlightening because you think you're doing fine, but she would read it and say, "Jim, the chapters start off real good, but they kind of like end weakly. There's no real push, at the end, no punch at the end." So I took that into consideration when I started writing, and I tried to put a little punch at the end of the chapter like I began the chapter. So it was important to get feedback.
And by having her, it was also like an accountability partner that got you to produce more.
I knew she would be very disappointed if I
if
I didn't have a chapter for her to enter into the computer. Yeah,
that's right. So it helps. Okay,
Absolutely.
and that's something that
There's a message there.
Yeah, if anybody else is looking to write a book, it's interesting. Many years ago, I heard somebody say, if you're looking to write a book, you could write a page a day, and at the end of the year, you'll have a novel. And when you break it up into small steps like that, and with you had 52 chapters, and even if you wrote a chapter a week, after a year, you would have a book. Mm-hmm. But it took you 2 years to write the book.
Well, it took me 2 years to get it from that first brainstorming until it was in a physical entity. So
Yep.
A lot of it was written, and then I had a person help me do content editing, because I would say something in chapter 5, and then would say the same thing in chapter 17. So we had to clean up a lot of the chapters.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you had some chapters too that you decided, I'm not going to put this in as one of the 52. It sounds good. I like it. but you had to pick the
best.
top 52, the best for people, which is great, and you did it. It really is. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are hoping to write a book someday, maybe some people that are writing them. And is there any advice that you could give people if they're writing a book?
You got to get started. Martin Luther King said, "You don't worry about the top of the ladder. The first step is important. You know, when you'll get to the top, but you got to take the first step. So start writing, start brainstorming, write some chapters, write some concepts, and then fill it in.
Yeah, it's taking those baby steps initially to get going.
And know when you're know when you're most creative. I'm most creative first thing in the morning. Some people are creative, after the David Letterman show at midnight. That's not me. So you got to know yourself when you're the most creative.
Okay, that's a good point. And it must have taken a lot of research also, right, for you to...
Well, the research has been my life. The research has been everything that led up to that starting of the writing of the book. Because I had all of this stuff in my head. See, the book draws from many disciplines, many traditions. It's an eclectic compilation of traditions from Buddhism to Catholicism to, all kinds of disciplines. And it's kind of just drawn together in a simple way that people can say, yeah. They read a chapter and they say, yeah, I think I'm going to try that. So that was the whole point, to get people to see an idea and try to make their life a little happier.
Oh, and what a great message, really. It's, I'm sure there's a lot of people out here that would love to have a copy of your book. Where can they get a copy if they were?
It's available on Amazon. You go to Amazon.com, put in Simple Happiness. It's available in softcover. It's available on Kindle. You can also, my website, there's a little commerce page on my website. You can go to my website and call me if you want to buy multiple copies.
JimRyanTalks.com.
JimRyanTalks.com.
Okay, Jim Ryan, common name. If you just type in Jim Ryan, there's probably 1,000 of them that would come up. And, so you got to get the right one. And I guess on Google, they could go Simple Happiness, Jim Ryan.
Yep, I'm there on Jim Ryan. I'm on it may not be the first one. The first one is the miler, Jim Ryan, who ran the sub 4-minute mile at the University of Kansas, but that's not me. I'm a little further down on the page.
I think people were getting that confused, but they didn't see you wearing sneakers today. So, well, it's definitely a great book. Now, you do a lot of talks, too.
Well, that's...
And you're getting out your message to people with the Simple Happiness.
My message is one that people crave. Who doesn't want to be happy? That's how I start my talks. Most of the time I'll say, by the way, raise your hand if you'd rather not feel good during the day. And nobody raises their hand, but most people don't even think about feeling good during the day. Most people are so caught up with the family, the job, the responsibilities, the shopping, the house. They forget about why we do everything we do, and that is to be fulfilled, to experience joy and happiness.
Yes, yes. I had a guest on my show a few months ago. Jennifer is a coach and works with a lot of people. She came down from Connecticut, and she has a message: happiness first, success follows. And that's her mantra, and it's so true, when she talked about it, how you really have to be happy, and some people, they forget the happiness part of it, and right away they want this or that, and it seems like they fail along the way because they're not getting some of the basics that you have right here in Simple Happiness. So how about some of your talks, Jim? Can you tell us where people might be able to see you, or is that listed on the website?
Well, I usually, if I'm going to give a talk in the public, I'll usually send it out to my email list. Many of my talks are sponsored by organizations that are not open to the public, but sometimes I'll do a library talk or a church talk, and those are usually sent out to my email list. So if you want to know where I'm going to be, you can go to my website, and you can give me, there's a little place on the top right-hand side to enter your email address. And a lot of people do that. Every Wednesday I send out an aha moment, a little uplifting thought, something positive to help you get through the week. People like those. They're free, and you can just enter your email on my front page of my website, and you'll hear from me every Wednesday.
and they are great. Jim, I subscribe to it, and I look forward to it. So every Wednesday, I'll get Jim's aha moment. He'll take a message. It's short. We know a lot of you are very busy, and people don't want to spend a half an hour every week watching something. But they're a minute, couple of minutes, and they just give you a nice, positive message. So that's great.
Well, that's the idea. I just do it Wednesdays. I don't want to inundate people because email can get crazy. So there's a text that'll come into your box, email box, and then there's a link to a YouTube video. Every Wednesday I produce a little video as well as the text, so you can see me talking to you on YouTube. So it's fun.
Yeah, you know, I like one that you did about gratitude. It's a topic that you talk about a lot and everything, appreciating things. And can you share a little bit of that with us?
Well, that's one of the chapters in my book, Appreciate, Appreciate, Appreciate. And the bottom line is, if you want to be happy, gratitude is the place to start. We've all got things we can be grateful for. See, that's the crux. We have a choice of what thoughts we hang on to in our mind. We can choose either to look at the lack in our life and feel bad that we don't have this, we don't have that, or we could look at what we do have in our life and be grateful for the abundance in our life. This morning's, or one of the ones that I did recently, I got from a friend. And she told me that, actually a friend of hers said to her, every morning I open up 2 gifts, ... my eyes. We take so much for granted, and there is so much to be grateful for. And that little feeling of gratitude makes you feel good.
It does.
And it builds, just little things. You don't have to, just, in my talks, I say, when you throw your legs over the side of the bed and stand up in the morning, what's your thought? I say, it could be, thank God I can get out of bed by myself. Right. Just that thought of gratitude sets you up on a path for being grateful, for feeling good during the day. You walk down to the bathroom. I say, what's your thought? I say, don't tell me. But then it could be, thank God I've got indoor plumbing. Things that we take for granted.
And how many people in this world don't? How many people wish they could be in your shoes, you know? And if people could just think like that instead of, I want more, I don't have enough, you know? Keeping up with the Joneses, that whole thing that, you know? But you're absolutely right. I love the way you put that.
It's so simple. And this is easy. A lot of the things I talk about are simple but not easy. This is both simple and easy. We just got to bring it to mind. It's the intention. I've got to ask myself, do I want to have a happy life? And if I do, which we all do, all I got to do is start with gratitude.
And how about some other messages that you would have and things that you could offer for happiness for people?
Well, those are the two things that when people come up to me and say, Jim, I want to be happy, give me a couple of things I could start with. The number one is intention. You have to understand that your intention leads you in which direction you intend to go. And if you want to be happy, you have to have the intention to be happy. It's not the circumstances of my life that make all the difference, but it's how I deal with those circumstances. It's the choices of my responses to what happens. So if I want to be happy and I have that conscious decision in my mind, then I can start with gratitude. And all day long, we've got possibilities for being grateful. We just got to be mindful and paying attention. We've got to rise up above ourselves and see how we're doing. And notice when we're taking something for granted, when we're sad, and when we're happy. And we can move our mind in that direction by being grateful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you have 8 other, what are your top 8 success happy? What would it be?
My signature talk is 8 characteristics of happy. What are happy people like? And in this talk, we talk about what are happy people like, and the audience has a chance to try on these characteristics. And a lot of times people will come up to me and say, Jim, thank you so much. You have affirmed the way that I try to live my life. And they're excited about doing more to be happier. And some people come up and say, what am I so miserable about? I got so much to be happy for. So we talk about intention. We talk about accountability. See, a lot of people blame others for their lot in life.
Oh, yeah, you got to be responsible for your own life.
That's it. My happiness is my business. And we have a quote from Helen Keller. And with these 8 characteristics, we have quotes from famous people that back up the characteristics. And Helen Keller, if anybody had a reason to be unhappy, she did. But she said, self-pity is our worst enemy, and if we yield to it, we can never do anything wise in this world. So we've got to be a little introspective. We've got to pay attention to what's going on in our head as it's going on, because feeling sorry for ourselves, which we all do, doesn't do any good. We go down that negative spiral.
And we have about 65,000 thoughts in our head every single day, and if they're all negative like that, look at what it's doing. It like spirals out of control for people.
And most of the thoughts that we have are the same ones we had yesterday.
That's it.
See, that's the crazy thing. If we want our life to change, something's got to change. And that something is our awareness of what's going on in our head as it's happening, so we can be in a position to decide, is this what I want for me? Do I want to be sad? Do I want to be angry? Do I want to be disappointed? Or do I want to be loving? Do I want to have peace in my life? Do I want to be compassionate? It's there for us to choose.
And like you said in the beginning, and we can't blame our parents when we were 7 years old for the way we feel today. You have to take responsibility.
We do, and that's what people do. I am the person that I am. Sitting here during this interview, it's the result of every choice that I've ever made in my life. And you too. You are the person, and all the viewers are the people that they are. It's the result of every choice that they've ever made in their life. And that's a little scary, because we don't want to take responsibility for all the bad things. Yeah. But as scary and as daunting as that concept is, it can be just as empowering. Because if I want my life to be better, I got to start making different choices.
Sure.
Different choices.
Sure. And again, you're showing us there's simple solutions for doing that.
It's all about intention. See, you got to ask yourself, what kind of a life do I want for me?
Yep.
And we can start to fashion it.
And then you can start putting your goals and your dreams and your objectives all.
But it starts with being happy. It starts with being happy with what you have.
Happiness first, success follows.
Absolutely.
There it goes.
That's it. Study after study with the psychologists have proven that first comes happiness, then comes success. I mean, there are plenty of successful people who are miserable. You know, they just want the next success, and they don't sit and enjoy the process. They don't enjoy the milieu that they've created for themselves.
Yeah, they just want more, and the greed and all those negative emotions start coming into it and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, good stuff. Now, is there maybe a few more characteristics you could share with us?
The third one is happy people know what makes them happy, and they find time to pursue those interests. And during my talks, I'll ask everybody, I'll ask the audience, who has a hobby that they love to do, and when they're involved in it, time just flies by. And people raise their hand, and they share, and their face lights up, because they can't hide the joy that they experience when they're involved in something that they really enjoy. Happy people have things they love to do, and they find time to do them. Some happy people follow their bliss. See, we talk about our bliss. You know, what's the best, my fabulous feelings? But so many people stay in their comfort zone, because they're afraid to step out of that comfort zone and risk failure, risk rejection. And it limits people tremendously. But if you step out of that comfort zone, as Joseph Campbell said, doors will open that you never even knew existed.
That's really good. I like that. I never heard that one before.
That's my experience going to that jail 15 years ago. I could have said, it's a 45-minute drive. I got my business to run. I don't have time for this. But I said, okay. I said yes to this opportunity, and it's changed my life. So I always say to people, this is an invitation and a challenge to step out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Stepping out of your comfort zone, go into a jail.
Well, hey.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect.
Hopefully you were stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, but it turned out to be one of the best things I ever did.
Look at that, and you just reinvented yourself from there. You have this whole new career, and you went from education and finance to being a speaker, an author, and just great stuff, and helping people. You know, and that's so rewarding to be able to know that you're helping people out.
Well, that's what I see my job is to open up people's eyes to the possibilities that exist for having a wonderful life. And like you said, my energy is contagious. I can't help it. I get excited
we can see
because
that,
it's
yeah.
so, so much fun. And why be miserable? We got one life. Why not make it the best life you can make it?
That's it. That's it. And by having other people find their passion and be as happy as you are, or be on that track, it's like, I don't know. Some people, when you're with them, you could just tell them, I got to move back a little bit, and you wish you could get the message across to them, but
people have to be ready. They really have to be ready. They have to get to a point where an idea clicks that light on in their head. See, that's my job, is to present possibilities for people to, and I'd say it, sometimes I hit people between the eyes, and sometimes I hit them in the gut, but with love and with a soft message to say, look, it's possible for you too. You can have a wonderful life if you make that decision.
Absolutely. And you, when you talk, and the people that you're reaching today, I hope that they can look for your website, go to Amazon, get your book. Simple Happiness is a great book, but you also seem to have something else here, Jim.
I recently put together a six module program, Making Happiness Happen. I've been doing this a long time, and I wanted to consolidate my ideas into one package so that people could take it home, make it theirs, and really work on themselves. So I've taken 6 modules, and it's available in a DVD form or a CD form. And the best way to get this is to call me, to go to my website and contact me.
Okay, so people could actually call you and talk to you, which
Sure. Oh, yeah.
is extra special. Well, I'm thrilled that you were on the show today, and you really provided our audience with one of the happiest shows that we have had on Be Happy, Feel Great. Go to Jim's website, look it up on Amazon, and like Jim said, you could even give him a call and find out more about Making Happiness Happen. Okay, Jim, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, I really appreciate it. It was great.